Picture a medieval peasant in winter. Cold, starving, miserable. You're wrong about nearly all of it. This man had more days off than you do. A full granary, meat hanging from his roof. And the thing most likely to kill him? It wasn't the cold. This is one winter day in his life. England, 1325. By the end, you'll understand why the season we dread most was the one he feared least. It's 4 in the morning. You're awake, not by choice. The cold found its way through the wall you sleep against. There's frost on the inside of your door. The fire burned down to embers hours ago. You lie still and listen. The cow breathing at the far end of the house. The wind working the thatch. A bell somewhere across the fields. No alarm woke you. No alarm exists. Your home is one room, 5 paces by 10, walls of woven branch and clay, a floor of beaten earth, a roof of thatch and no chimney, so the smoke just hangs and finds a gap. Everything you own smells of wood smoke. Your eyes sting most mornings. You stopped noticing years ago. You share this room with your wife, 3 children, and the cow and chickens behind a screen at the far end. It isn't carelessness. In January, every warm body is a small furnace. Your wife is already up. The pot is already on. Pottage, oats, peas, beans, kale. The same soup, twice a day for weeks. Breakfast is yesterday's bread and a cup of weak ale. Everyone drinks ale, even the children, not for the buzz, because the ditch water kills and the ale never has. You eat fast. The first hours of this day don't belong to you. You are a villein, not a slave. No one owns your body, but not free either. You hold 15 acres from the Lord. In return, you owe him work, 2 days a week, sometimes 3, before you touch your own land. In January, that work means the barn. You swing a flail in the half-light, thud, turn the straw, thud. By mid-morning, your shoulders are on fire. The bailiff walks through, counting sheaves. He knows exactly what a day should yield. So do you. And the rules go deeper than the work. They reach into your whole life. You can't grind your own grain. The Lord forbids a hand mill in your house. It goes to his mill, and the miller keeps a portion of the flour. Your daughter marries. You pay the Lord a fine for the right, a merche. You die. Before your son inherits, the Lord takes your best beast. They call it a heriot. And every one of these is written in the manor roll, read out at the Lord's court twice a year, where you're fined for letting your hedge stray or for your son leaving the manor. A free labourer earns a penny a day in winter. For this, you earn nothing. The grain flying off your flail, hour after hour, almost none of it will ever be yours. Noon. You walk home and eat. Pottage again, a sliver of bacon. And here's where your picture of the Middle Ages falls apart. Winter is not the hungry season. Your granary is full from the harvest. Look at what hangs and waits around you. The bacon over your head is the pig you killed at Martinmas in November. You couldn't feed it through the winter, so you slaughtered it. The hams and flitches were rubbed with precious salt and hung in the roof smoke to keep for months. In the crocks there are onions, beans, dried peas, turnips banked in earth against the frost, ale in the barrel your wife brewed last week. Cold, yes. Dark, yes. Hungry, not yet. The season that kills comes later, late spring, when last year's grain runs out, weeks before the new harvest is ready, when the poorest grind beans and bark into bread, then borrow, then beg. You don't fear January, you fear June, and you know what hunger can do. 10 years ago, 1315, the rain started in the summer and did not stop. It rained through the harvest, and the corn rotted black where it stood. The next year the rain came again, and the year after that. For 3 years the sky barely closed. The price of a quarter of wheat, normally 5 or 6 shillings, climbed past 20, several times what it should be. First, people ate the grain they had saved to sow, the seed corn, the next harvest, eaten in despair. Then the working animals. In your village, 1 in 10 was in the churchyard before it broke. The old ones still split time in two, before the famine and after. That memory is why, this afternoon, hands cracked from the cold, you'll still go out and mend the granary door. Daylight in an English January runs 8 in the morning to 4. 8 hours, and you need every one of them. There is always work the season hands you. Ditches clog with leaves, clear them before the spring melt floods the field. Hedges are cut part through and bent into a living fence. The plough comes out, the worn share goes to the smith, and your wife spins wool. Her hands are never free. That thread is half of what you have to sell. And here's a myth worth busting. You've heard peasants had more days off than us. Half true. The church gave you every Sunday and dozens of feast days. Saints' days, Easter week, and Christmas, which alone ran 12 days. But a holy day meant no work for the Lord. Not a day with your feet up. The cow still needs milking. The beasts still need feeding. Still, there is no clock on the wall and no foreman counting your minutes. The rhythm is brutal, but it breathes. Late afternoon you stop at the alehouse, a neighbour's cottage with a green branch hung over the door to say, "The new brew is ready." No inn, no landlord, just a wife who brewed more than her family can drink. This is where the village thinks out loud. Grain prices, a death 2 parishes over, the new bailiff, and what he counts too closely. And here's one more thing you've got wrong about this century. The idea that you all drop dead at 30. That's an average. Dragged down by the small graves in the churchyard, the babies and children who never reached 10. Bury enough infants, and the number falls, even as the survivors live on. You are 38. Get past childhood, and 50 is a reasonable hope. Often more. The village has its grey heads, the ones who remember the famine, who know where the old boundary stones lie. And they are listened to. By 4, the light fails. And now comes the part almost no one alive has ever experienced. True darkness. Not the orange half-dark of a city. Dark enough that you cannot see your own hand. Light is rationed carefully. A rushlight, a reed peeled and dipped in mutton fat, gives you maybe half an hour of thin, smoky flame before it gutters. A real beeswax candle is a luxury. That's for the altar, not your table. When the bell rings, couvre-feu, cover your fire, the curfew, you rake the embers into a heap and cover them, so the fire will live till morning. Then the family lies down together. One bed, shared warmth. It's maybe 7 o'clock, and here's the strangest thing of all. Around midnight you wake, not with a start, not from worry. You simply surface. So does everyone. This is how the body sleeps when the night runs 16 hours long. They called it first sleep and second sleep. And in that gap, they called it the watch. People did quiet things. They tended the fire or stepped out to check the animals. They prayed. The church even wrote prayers for the dead of night. They talked, then drifted into the second sleep till dawn. The writings of your whole era mention it in passing. A character going to bed after his first sleep, casual as we'd mention breakfast. No one explains it. Everyone already knows. Then cheap artificial light arrives. It pushes bedtime later and later until the night is too short to break in two. And within a few generations, humanity forgets it ever slept any other way. So that's your day. Smoke, frost, the flail, the pottage, the bell. No coin earned. Little spent. Nothing that will ever make a chronicle, and that's exactly why it's worth telling. Because this day, repeated with small changes, is what most human lives actually looked like for most of human history. And notice what you never feared today. The cold. You have walls, wool, fire, family for that. What you fear is June, the manor court, childbirth, one wet summer too many, and against those fears, you hold 15 acres, a full granary, bacon in the rafters, neighbours who know your name, and the memory of the worst that already happened and was survived. 20,000 years before this morning's bell, another human woke in the cold and faced a very different day. No granary, no lord, no walls. That's where we go next. Subscribe, and we'll live more days like this one. A hunter on the ice, a soldier on the frontier, a child in the first city on earth. 2 new days every week.